She kept asking the same question every night. Why do they do this to me? The table was set. The chairs were filled. Voices blended in the room. Plates were passed from hand to hand. She stood just outside the doorway, holding the same old book against her chest, her thumb tracing the worn edge of the cover as if preparing herself to speak. No one told her to leave. No one told her to sit. And somehow, that silence hurt more than being told to go away. For years, Sunday dinners looked the same. Same doorway, same number of plates. One chair always left where no one would pull it out. She arrived early and stayed near the frame of the door, watching the family take their seats. The table was large enough for one more chair, but no one moved it. The door stayed half open. The sound of cutlery spilled into the hallway. On cold nights, she pressed the book to her chest like someone holding on to something they cannot let fall. When someone stood to get water, they passed her without looking. No shouting, no order to leave. The exclusion was ordinary, repeated, learned. On the hallway wall, an old photo showed the same table years earlier, her sitting there, smiling. The photo did not match the room anymore. The house had changed without anyone ever explaining why. Years earlier, money set aside for a small repair went missing. The accusation came quickly and settled easily. They said she had taken it. No receipt, no record, no question asked. The story became a silent rule. From then on, looks changed. Her place at the table stopped being natural. There was no open fight. There was distance, and distance, when it lasts, becomes punishment. She tried to speak on different nights to different people. The answer stayed the same. That's in the past. The problem was it wasn't in the past for the person who was marked by it. The book she carried was plain on the outside. Worn cover, yellowed pages. Inside, clipped receipts and careful notes. On one page, a folded slip. On another, a date underlined. Once, as the family stood up from the table, she set the book on the edge of the wood. The cover touched the surface for a second. Someone slid it back toward the hallway without opening it. Not now. The gesture was small. The message was large. The truth had no time. An old neighbor later mentioned a blue sedan idling by the back door that afternoon, engine running longer than usual. Mud prints had been found near the step the next morning, half wiped away. Another family member remembered raised voices, but not whose. Details existed. No one connected them. When listening is inconvenient, even clear signs are left where they fall. The grandmother began eating alone at different hours, not by order, but because the body learns where it is not welcome. The book stayed with her night after night, like the last way to speak without being interrupted. While clearing old boxes in the basement for a sale, a grandchild found a forgotten envelope. Inside was a late payment slip with the same date underlined in the grandmother's book. The address on the slip was not the house. For the first time in years, there was a trail that did not point to her. He climbed the stairs with the envelope in his hand. He stopped in the hallway when he saw her standing outside the table, the book pressed to her chest. He hesitated. The table was full. So was the truth. The envelope was set on the shelf. No one spoke about it that night. The next day, someone said, maybe there was a mistake. Nothing changed. The chair stayed empty. Admitting a maybe felt like enough to those still sitting. For someone who had stood outside for years, it was not. Silence remained the easiest way to avoid fixing the past. One evening, her phone slipped from her hand in the hallway. The screen cracked. The battery cover popped loose. As the grandchild picked it up to help, a saved voice message appeared on the lock screen. She had recorded it on the day the money went missing when no one wanted to listen. The message was still there, untouched. The phone went into a kitchen drawer. Drawers keep what a house is not ready to face. Her steps grew slower. Appointments filled the calendar. The family organized rides to the clinic, then returned to dinners where her place remained empty. The house offered practical care, not symbolic care. The seat was still denied, and denying a seat is denying belonging. One afternoon, the grandchild opened the book. Without asking, the dates lined up with the receipts. The amounts matched the late payment. The sequence was simple. The money had covered another family member's debt that same week. It was not a complex mystery. It was a human mistake hidden by shame, and shame had chosen an easy target. On the back of one receipt, a name was written in small letters. It was not a distant villain. It was someone who had sat at the table for years. The realization did not arrive as a confrontation. It arrived as something that could not be unseen. They understood it had never been only about believing an accusation. It had been about choosing not to listen when listening felt uncomfortable. That night, before anyone sat, the grandchild pulled out the chair and set it in the empty space. No speech. He simply called the grandmother by her name. The table paused. For the first time in years, silence was not used to exclude, but to make room. One person could not meet her eyes. She sat. The book rested on the table, closed. There was no public confession that night. There was presence. Some truths need time to be spoken, others only need a place to exist. The house did not change that night. But for the first time in years, the place at the table changed hands. This time, she didn't stand in the doorway. A quiet voice finally said, "We should have listened."